The story begins in 1944, during the time of World War II, a world filled with gunfire, destruction, and fear. In the vast Pacific Ocean, we meet Allison, an American Marine captain. His group was attacked by Japanese soldiers, and somehow Allison managed to escape in a rubber raft. For many days, he drifted aimlessly across the open sea. One day, while he was moving forward alone, he suddenly spotted an island in the distance. Seeing this, he quickly rowed his raft toward it. When he reached the shore, he dragged the raft aside and started looking around for help, but all he could see were trees and rocks, nothing else. Then, his eyes caught sight of a church. As he approached it, a nun came out from inside. Her name was Angela. Startled at the sight of him, Angela looked frightened. Allison said softly, "Don't be afraid. I'm an American. I won't hurt you." He asked her, "How many people live here?" Angela replied, "I live here alone." Allison found it hard to believe at first. Angela then took him inside her shelter and gave him some food. Allison asked, "Why are you living here all alone?" Angela explained, "I came to this island with a priest. Our mission was to rescue some elderly priests from the Japanese soldiers. But when we arrived, we discovered that the Japanese had already occupied the island. They captured the priests we came to save. Seeing the danger, we decided to hide here for a while. But after a few days, the priest who came with me fell ill and died. Since then, I've been living here alone. My people thought the Japanese had taken me too, so no one came to rescue me." After listening, Allison shared his own story. He said, "I'm a Marine. The Japanese attacked our group. I somehow managed to save my life and escape to this place," Allison said. After that, he took some rest. When he woke up, he saw Angela lighting a candle and praying to God, seeking guidance. Later, both of them went out to search for food. Allison climbed up a tree to pick coconuts and fruits and pass them down to Angela. But he needed protein, something more than just fruits. Then he noticed a turtle swimming in the water. Seeing that, he gathered some rope and wood and got back onto the raft. Angela joined him, and together they headed toward the turtle. Catching it wasn't easy. Allison fell into the water while trying, but Angela helped him. In the end, they managed to capture the turtle and climbed back onto the raft. After returning to the island, Allison cooked the turtle and ate it. He said to Angela, "We have everything we need on this island. Even if no one comes to rescue us, we can survive here." Angela then asked, "Who do you have back home?" Allison replied, "I'm an orphan. I grew up in an orphanage until I was 14. After finishing school, I decided to join the army because I wanted to do something for my country." Angela said softly, "I'm an orphan too. I have deep faith in God. That's why I chose to become a nun. It gives me peace, and I want to help guide people onto the right path." Allison and Angela were completely different from each other. Angela was calm and gentle, deeply spiritual, and prayed regularly with unwavering faith in God. Allison, on the other hand, wasn't very religious. He was strong-willed, often short-tempered, and tough by nature. The next day, they saw Japanese warplanes flying overhead. Alarmed, Allison quickly pulled Angela into hiding. If the Japanese spotted them, both their lives would be in danger. Allison whispered, "We'll have to stay hidden for a few days. I saw a cave nearby. It'll be safer for us there." Angela also thought that was a good idea, so she went to the cave with Allison. They stayed there the entire day. The next morning, they were startled by the sound of loud explosions. Allison peeked outside the cave and saw Japanese planes dropping heavy bombs all over the island. Angela got terrified and began to pray. Allison tried to calm her down and give her courage. After a while, when the warplanes finally left, they came out of the cave, only to find complete destruction everywhere. Their shelter and the church had been completely destroyed. Just then, a group of Japanese soldiers arrived on the island to set up a weather station. They even destroyed the raft Allison had used to reach the island. Seeing them, Allison and Angela were forced to run back and hide inside the cave again. The soldiers roamed nearby, searching the area. Allison became alert and told Angela to stay back quietly, while he stood ready with a knife in his hand. Luckily, the soldiers didn't enter the cave. After some time, they left. At this point, Angela said softly, "Maybe I should surrender myself to the Japanese. I believe they won't harm a nun. That way, you'll have a chance to escape." She added, "We also don't have any food left." But Allison refused. "No," he said firmly, "we can't take that risk. They might do anything to you. We'll stay hidden here." That evening, Allison cautiously stepped out of the cave. He saw that the Japanese soldiers had set up several camps around the island. Avoiding them carefully, he went to the other side to catch some fish. Unfortunately, a few soldiers spotted him. Thinking quickly, Allison pretended to be dead, lying still on the ground. The soldiers glanced at him, but didn't suspect anything, and walked away. After they left, Allison caught a few fish and returned to the cave. He and Angela began to eat together. But Angela hesitated, because since becoming a nun, she had given up eating fish. But now they had nothing left to eat, so Angela was forced to eat the fish. However, her stomach couldn't handle the raw fish, and she ended up vomiting. After that, she fell asleep without eating anything else. A little later, while Angela was sleeping, Allison quietly slipped out of the cave to observe the movements of the Japanese soldiers. He smeared soot on his face so that no one could recognize him. When the moment was right, he sneaked into the soldiers' camp and began filling a bag with food supplies. Suddenly, a Japanese soldier walked in. Allison hid silently, barely breathing, afraid to make a sound. He couldn't escape, and the situation became so dangerous that he had to spend the entire night there, hiding in fear. The next morning, when all the soldiers were busy training outside the camp, Allison quietly slipped away with the bag and hid in a safe spot. Meanwhile, Angela woke up and, not seeing Allison in the cave, was terrified. She thought he might have been killed, and she broke down in tears. Soon after, Allison managed to return safely, avoiding the soldiers' eyes. Seeing him alive, Angela was overjoyed. Allison said, "I went to the camp to get food." But Angela got angry. She said, "He left without telling me. I was so scared something had happened to you." Allison replied, "I'm sorry. I won't do that again." The next day, Allison gave Angela a flower and a comb as gifts. She smiled, touched by the gesture. Allison then asked, "Don't you ever wish to leave your nun's life behind and live like a normal woman?" Angela replied, "I haven't completed my vows yet. It takes 5 years to become a nun, so we have time to think about our decision. I'm still not completely sure." The truth was, Allison had started developing feelings for Angela. He didn't want her to devote herself entirely to the church. Just then, they heard some noise outside. Looking out, they saw Japanese soldiers leaving the island. Both of them were overjoyed. The soldiers had left behind plenty of food and supplies at their camp, so they no longer had to worry about survival. A few days later, Allison told Angela, "I've been alone since childhood. I've gone through a lot of pain. But now, being with you, I've found happiness." He continued, "I've started to love you. I want you to change your decision about becoming a nun. When the war is over, I want you to marry me." Angela was shocked. She said, "I've dedicated myself to God. I can't betray him to be with someone else." Hearing Angela's words, Allison felt deeply hurt. But still, he said softly, "If I've said anything that hurt you, please forgive me." That night, after dinner, they sat together quietly. While looking around the camp supplies, Allison found a bottle of liquor left behind by the Japanese and drank quite a lot of it. Under the influence of alcohol, he began mocking Angela's vows, saying, "We're like Adam and Eve, trapped together on this island." Angela was deeply offended. Tears filled her eyes, and she ran out into the jungle in the pouring rain, crying. Shivering in the cold, she lay down under a tree and eventually fell asleep. Allison searched for her frantically all night, but couldn't find her. The next morning, he finally found Angela unconscious on the ground. He lifted her in his arms and started carrying her toward the camp for help. But then he saw that the Japanese soldiers had returned to the island. So he hurried back to the cave with her. Angela's condition began to worsen rapidly. Desperate to save her, Allison risked his life and snuck into the Japanese camp, stealing blankets and medicine. But as he was about to leave, a soldier spotted him. In a panic, Allison stabbed the soldier to death in self-defense and hid the body before escaping. He returned to the cave, quickly changed Angela's wet clothes, gave her the medicine, and for the first time in his life, he prayed to God for her recovery. The next morning, Angela regained consciousness. She looked at him weakly and asked, "Who changed my clothes?" Allison replied, "I did. You were sick and your clothes were soaked." Then he said softly, "I'm sorry for everything I said last night. I was drunk and didn't mean any of it." Angela forgave him with a gentle smile. Just then, a loud explosion echoed outside. Allison rushed out and saw that Japanese planes were bombing the island again. The soldiers had discovered that one of their men was missing and realized that Allison had killed him. Now they were searching the island to find and kill him. Allison told Angela the truth, that when he went to get the blankets, a soldier had seen him, and he had to kill the man in self-defense. Hearing this, Angela was heartbroken and began to pray to God for forgiveness. Meanwhile, a group of Japanese soldiers approached the cave. One of them shouted, "If anyone's inside, come out now, otherwise we'll throw grenades in." Now, Allison and Angela had two choices: surrender or die in the explosion. They were both terrified. Angela clasped her hands and began to pray. It felt as though death was inevitable. Just then, heavy bombing began outside, and the Japanese soldiers started screaming in panic.
Allison then realized that it was an attack by the American Navy. He and Angela came out of the cave and saw U.S. fighter planes bombing the Japanese soldiers. Overwhelmed with emotion, both of them burst into tears of joy. Allison said, "The American troops won't be able to land easily. The Japanese brought 4 cannons and hid them at different points around the island. I have to disable them." He looked at Angela and added, "Even God wants me to do this for my country." Angela gave him her blessing. Allison ran out of the cave and saw that most of the Japanese soldiers were already dead. Dodging falling bombs, he rushed from one cannon to another, destroying them one by one. He got badly injured, but he didn't stop. Despite the pain, he managed to disable all 4 cannons, saving the lives of countless American soldiers. Soon after, the American Navy stopped the bombing. Angela came out of the cave and began treating Allison's wounds. Allison looked at her weakly and said, "It's time for us to say goodbye. Maybe we'll never see each other again." Angela, in tears, replied, "Maybe I can't spend my life with you, but you'll always stay close to my heart." Moments later, the American soldiers landed on the island and raised their flag in victory. When their captain saw Allison alive, he was astonished. They had all believed he was dead. As they carried Allison away on a stretcher, Angela walked behind him, silently watching. Allison had never tried to force his love on Angela. He had always respected her choice to remain devoted to God. And Angela, in her heart, truly understood Allison's love. This story teaches us that true love isn't always about being together. Sometimes, even from afar, 2 hearts can still become one. And with that thought, the story comes to an end.